Oh, hello again everyone, welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again, and very nice to see you all. I'm going to do a review of a new kit today, which it's new to me, let's put it like this. It's not new to the market, so I'm not being totally original, but this comes about as a result of a comment that I passed on another channel, and I'll talk about all that in a minute. But first of all, I wanted to just have a quick chat about the swear box, which continues unabated and guards me from uttering foul oaths and obscenities on the air. I've added some new things from Tony, thanks very much Tony, and we've got a box of spanners, and he's kindly priced that for us at £1.77 and a complete donut at 75p. So we're carrying on, and anyone who wants to contribute, please feel free to do so. Either I can add the cost in or you can yourself, and I'll happily credit you with that. So we'll keep going with the swear box. It's very good for me, and hopefully very good for everybody else as well. So let's put that away in the corner for a while, and we'll leave that until the next time. And we'll just show you this new kit that I've bought. Now, I haven't bought one of these in a long time, i.e. a Revell kit, but the story behind this is that I commented on a video of a 1/72nd scale build of a Mk22 Spitfire by a chap called Captain VFC. It was a very engaging style. I quite liked it, to be honest with you, and it was entertaining to listen to, and he put the video together very well, far better than I, in fact. And during the course of that exchange of comments, I mentioned that I would pay good coin for a 1/48th or 1/32nd scale Spitfire, a Griffin powered jobber, and Finsbury, bless him, good old Finsbury, thanks Finsbury, came along and said there's a 1/48th one from somebody else, and then there's a Revell 132, and I thought, well, why don't I go for the Revell 132 now? It seems not to be in mould at the moment, but I did locate this one from a friendly local internet to me, and I'm going to have a look at it today. Now, I'm in danger, I know, of becoming a bit of a Spitfire bore, so this won't be the next on the build schedule, but I thought, well, now I've got it, I might as well have a quick look at it and show you. I paid the princely sum of £32 for this, so it's about a third of the price of some of the kits and less than a third of the price of some of the other 1/32 scale model kits that you can get. But I looked it up on something I recently discovered, which I'm sure you're all well aware of, which is called Scalemates. Turns out this is an old Matchbox kit, and it was, I suppose, acquired by Revell in some manner. But it's from the mid-70s, about 1975 apparently. So we kind of know what we're going to get here, and we'll see how it goes. I think this particular kit was manufactured on or about 2007, something along that line. But has a side opening box, as you can see. Now it's not new, it's second hand, but it has some bits and pieces in it. And when we get second hand kits, as I have done before, we expect a certain set of things to be the case. And I'm going to take the box away. I don't think I'm going to look at it very hard, the box particularly, because, well, I mean, you've seen many boxes before, and I think what's more interesting is actually what's inside. So we'll take a look at them in a minute, but we've got the instructions here. You'll all be familiar with that kind of thing, and safety advice, yes, don't run with scissors, don't eat yellow snow, don't drive across narrow bridges when you're very, very drunk. In fact, don't drive at all when you're very, very drunk, or even a little bit drunk. So there we go. Off we go to the decals. They're a little bit folded, a little bit damaged. You can see a little fold in there, you probably see that there you go. But they give some interesting clues as to what we can expect to see in a little bit later. But I mean, in particular with the instrument panel here, as you can see, it's not as detailed, anything like as detailed as you would expect to find from a modern kit. Anybody who's looked at my build on the Qatari 1/32 scale Spitfire will see how extraordinarily detailed the instrument panel is. If you magnify it, it's absolutely unbelievable. This is you know, a few years old, it's not going to be quite as good. But we'll have to see how the decals go when we come to doing them. But you know, there it is. I don't know who makes them, to be honest with you. Printed in Italy for Revell. So you know, circa 2010, 2007. So we know that's relatively new anyway. Maybe they'll be all right, maybe not. So what I'm going to do is what I tend to do. By the way, the creaking is not my hips; it's actually the chair I use. I ought to get another one, didn't I? Really. I'll go through the instructions and then we'll pull bits out that are relevant to the kit. So what I need to do to begin with is to open this up, and as you can see, I've not really looked at it, but this is taped shut, so I don't need to cut anything off. So I just pull that tape off and fold that away there, and that way I can put things back in without having to do anything you know, particularly difficult or onerous. So let's get straight into the instruction manual then. Usual instructions, you know, peg this, you know, dip that in water, glue that together, you know, don't glue your fingers together, usual advice. So there's a sprue call out. There are no letters, just numbers for this by the look of it, so we're going to be hunting round for bits and pieces. First things first, it's a Griffin engine, and as you can see, there are several steps devoted to the putting together of that. It looks like the exhaust stubs are contained within the engine, so let's just take a look at that for a minute. I'm just going to put these sprue components out to the right here, and then put this down on the desk so that we can see what's going on. I may zero in a little bit if it comes down to it when we need to look at these things. But nicely, actually, the first thing we can see is the top of the engine with the stubs here. So we can just take a quick look at that. We don't have to do any gluing in of stubs, but it looks to me like there are some mould lines that will need to be removed, and it appears that the engine is perhaps not so detailed. We could perhaps invest some time in detailing this. This plastic's a bit different. You can see it's quite shiny, actually. It's really quite shiny. Yes, I'm not. I don't know how this will go. I'm sure that it'll take a primer fairly well. You know, one trusts that that's the case. And I don't know about the shape of these undercarriage wells here. They're probably different. I know that the Mk22 wing was a different design to previous ones. In fact, the Mk22 and 24 and 21, I think, took a different wing, and it was because they flew faster, in fact. And the stiffer wing, which was something like 48% stiffer, was designed to help prevent aileron reversal, because at high speeds what would happen is the wing would twist sufficiently. Let's just back out a little bit, there we go. The wing would twist, which meant the aileron had no effect and would have the reverse effect, in fact. So the Mk22 wing avoided that, but you can see straight away that whilst there is this slightly elliptical shape, the wing tip here is different. The elliptical shape is perhaps slightly more familiar at the back, but it is quite different. You might argue that it's not really a Spitfire. Some, I suspect, would make that argument. I don't know whether I'm going to or not. I probably won't, but there we are. You never know, do you? So we just digress slightly. Griffin engine had a single stage supercharger on it, mounted on it, and you can see that being assembled there. And then we've got cam tops there, I would think, and from thence we start to move to, what are these things here? This looks like a fuel tank, actually. At step 9 we start to look at assembling the frames. So this will be frame 11 is the pilot's seat frame. So let's see if we can find that. So first thing we can see here is frame 10. That's interesting. What we have here, it would appear, is that the rudder pedals appear to be moulded straight onto the frame. So there's an awful lot of loss of detail there, I would suggest. So let's see if we can find frame 11, shall we? And then we can take a look at that and see what that looks like. There it is. There's frame 11. And that's just confirm that that's part 21, and there you have 21 there. So immediately what we can see here, this would be the front section, there is no lightening detail. So as you know, holes in these frames to lighten the weight of the frame. So if we want those, they're going to have to be introduced ourselves. The triangular bulletproof screen here for the rear of the pilot's head is also is attached straight, and it's a little crude, if I'm honest with you. This moulding is a little crude. We can see that the seat back, yes, the seat back is an L-shape pattern here that we can locate here. So the seat back here, which I suspect is doubling as the bulletproof shield, then on the seat mounts onto that, and we can see that going together, and then mounts onto the frame there. It'll look like a Spitfire seat from a distance, shall we put it like that? But I think perhaps we'll need to modify it. We can see straight away, if we just zero right in on that, straight away we can see quite a large, let's get the old poker out, shall we? It's here somewhere, and try not to bang into things. I have to use the nearest one I can find. That's quite a large sprue, not sprue, ejector pin. That was the phrase I was looking for. I know you were all shouting it out in modelling land to try and help me. Thank you very much. It's almost like a pantomime, isn't it? Let's face it. There we go. We know what we're going to get. This is a model kit that's really pretty old, to be honest with you. Next steps, I want to look at the spade grip, so I'm going to have a quick look to see if we can find the spade grip here. Let's have a quick look. The part number of it is not visible by the look of it. 34. There we are. This is one thing without having lettered and numbered sprues. Here is the spade grip. Yeah, so it's one-sided effectively. You can see here, and you can see the communications cables and the ganglion there. Again, the buttoning, and this is slightly crude. To me, that looks a little oversized, a little bit overscale size, to be honest. That I'll have to look at that in some more detail. We may need to try and perhaps scratch build something to make it, proper scale size, but we'll wait and see on that. I think the figure's pretty crude. I'm not going to look at that. I won't be using a figure in this one. I shall do it empty. Moving on to in fact, actually, another interesting thing I think we'll quickly look at, and that thing I did notice when I had this out of the box earlier, is at the back of frame 10 there is a well for the pilot's feet. Let's zero back out on that. You can see this then. At the back of frame 10, this is frame 10, which is where the instrument panel is, and then at the back of that there's this well that backs onto the engine firewall. So this incorporates actually a very nice little touch, I thought, which incorporates a separate blind flying controls panel. So if we look at this should be taped shut again, I think. Yeah, we can get that open, can't we? There we are, look. So what we can see here is this is the wells for the rudder pedals, and here are the blind flying controls. So the blind flying controls actually fit into the back of frame 10, just here, so that you have a separate frame. So we can paint this frame here a semi-gloss black, X18 for example, and then we can paint this, for example, XF85, a night colour, because these were different shades. so we can introduce some realism there, but there is a decal to fit on there. Once again, I'm afraid the decal's a little crude, but it is what it is, you know. I'm going to leave that to one side at the minute. I'll put them on the instructions, so on the safety instructions, as it were. So moving on into stage 14, the later marks of Spitfire had retractable rear wheel, and you can see this here. Again, I'm going to have it open, of course, because the thing will be on the ground. Wouldn't be very useful without that. Some additional components going in here, which would be, I would suggest, some sort of oil tanks, something like that go on the back of the frame here. On the engine, it's on the engine bulkhead here. Frame 9, either frame 9 or frame 8, I can't remember which. Some additional components to go into the cockpit, radios and various other bits and pieces. Fuel tank detail here in stage 18, and then the installation of the pilot here and seats and so on. Quite a lot of the work is now, I suspect, completed by this time, and then we're putting the two halves together. So let's just have a quick look at the two halves. I'm going to drop these down there, so we'll have a quick look at the insides of the two halves here. Yes, there is some detail. The original mould was made in 1975. It's not going to be an awful lot of detail there. Some of the bits and pieces like this headrest cover here, because it's a bubble canopy, remember, because this is a cut down rear side here. The bubble canopy is encompassed there. This section here is again fairly crude. We could probably get away with putting some extra detail in between frames 11 and 12. So frame 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right up to frame 19, which is the junction of, and you don't see any of those back here. You might choose to put them in, possibly, I don't know, but frame 19 is where the tail mounting is placed, and you can see that panel line there where the tail can be detached. As with all later Spitfires, the tail is a lot larger. The vertical tail fin is much larger to combat the twisting motion of the aircraft, because of the torque created by the engine. Gave the whole thing a desire to really turn circles laterally, shall we say. I think I know what Nigel's modelling bench. Hello Nigel, hope you're doing all right, mate. Go and visit Nigel if you haven't seen him. That's what he means by soft detail, I shouldn't wonder. You can see that just there. Let's just zero in on that. I don't see very much of this kind of thing, but I think that's what they call soft detail, isn't it? I mean, in general, the outside detail looks okay, and we should be able to build ourselves quite a neat kit. I would have thought. Maybe a bit of extra work. I don't know what that is in there. That looks quite odd, doesn't it? It has some words on there. I think that might have been some sort of legend for perhaps the Matchbox kit, maybe. I don't know. But whatever's happened here, this has been scrubbed out rather crudely, but probably scrubbed out by whoever picked up the mould last, presumably. We can see some ejector pin marks in a pretty awkward place there, actually, to be honest with you. I think that's borderline visible. That one there is certainly visible. Did we show you that properly? I hope we did, but that ejector pin there is certainly going to be visible. We're going to be able to see that really easily. So it's quite a lot of work to do to put this right, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think there is some, I just banged into the camera there. That's careless. So there's some work there. Moving on, rudder, be a much larger rudder with the trim tabs here. Again, I think those trim tabs are over scale. There, I think there would be a gap on the trim tab horn here, So I think we'll have to do some investigation as to whether that's absolutely correct or not. I don't think it is, but you know, I don't want to slate the kit at all. Looking at the horizontal tail planes, the detail is, you know, the detailing is quite deep. You can see the trim tabs here again as well. You know, yeah, I mean, it looks okay. You know, as I say, we should be able to build a reasonable kit. And usually for a canopy that I've seen, the canopy itself, the bubble canopy glues onto a framework, and away you go from there. Steps 27 and 28 see us putting in the machine guns. I will show you let's move you out there so you can see me me stuff. Here's the machine gun belts. Again, they look rather toy-like. I rarely display machine guns, to be honest with you, so I'm probably not going to do very much with these. And while I mention it now, while I think about it, I'm probably going to just build this out of the box and do what modifications I can with old bits of plastic and so on. Whilst I look at the wheels, you will see that the later wheels are being used here. So these wheels are 3-spoke wheels. I think you can see them okay. A little bit of a shadow there, sorry about that. And these later 3-spoke wheels were incorporated because Spitfires were increasingly landing on runways rather than grass runways, you know, grass tracks and so on and so forth. This made, and with greater landing speeds, I believe as well, this made this much more strong, actually, I think. Back of the wheels here, no detail at all. That's you know, well, disappointing. Main wing spar there. I'm dotting about here, I know, but it's things that I pick up and attract my attention here. So as I say, machine guns going in. I'm probably going to leave that machine gun detail out. It's not really that necessary, to be honest with you. You have to put the barrels in, obviously, but nothing else. So wing fixings here. You have the port and starboard wings there. Let's just zero you out to 0.6. There we go. So port and starboard wings we can see here. They secure it in the center with another panel, and that's this one here. So yes, you can see the locating positions there. They'll locate in these little U-shaped ears into here. Yeah, I can see that we're going to have to be fairly careful in placing the spars wings and that central portion there to make certain that we get that absolutely right. Otherwise, I think things are going to fall apart rather quickly, and we may end up with a complete donut. Thank you, Tony, appreciate that. Yeah, 32 wing tops on, and then the ubiquitous pegs in this build, it would seem, followed by panels. I'll probably just glue those panels straight in, make sure they're fitted down properly. 34, we're looking at the 5-blade propeller, 6-blade propeller, can't remember which now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-blade propeller. There you are, I was right. And then fitting the fuselage to the wing sections, and then wing root fillets. We've seen wing root fillets before, haven't we? Yes, we've seen them on the Kotare kit, and I think it's a very good idea. So there we go. After that, we're then into fitting the engines. The engine bearers go in here, and for some reason we divert away from the engines and we go to the undercarriage. Seems peculiar, but there we are. Who knows what? So, I see. So with the undercarriage oleo legs, part numbers, I can't see which, 88, part 88 and 87, See if we can find those for a minute. Oh, here we go, they're right here. I was assuming there would be detail on the back of these undercarriage oleos, and as you can see, there isn't really very much at all. It looks a bit dead, to be honest with you. Again, I'll have to take a look at that. There is some ring detail down here, but there would be tubes and so on. We can introduce those in with lead or copper wires, probably lead wires I would think. We can do that. You can also see the propeller blades here, all 5 of them. So I can count to 5, can't I? Isn't that good? Just my little joke there. And then from there we're going on to some other details with the radiators, and putting in the exhaust stub manifolds there. I suspect they're called manifolds. People with more expertise than me would be able to tell you that. Please, respond in the comments. And then we're pretty much through it. Then we're near the end at that stage. Putting the radiator that side, and radiator stroke oil cooler, and I think intercooler as well on that side. Correct me if I'm wrong, as ever. And then options for undercarriage up or down. Mine will be down, of course. Nice to see the angle of the wheels is being placed here. It will have been less of an angle than, for example, a Mark 1 Spitfire, because it reduced scrubbing on the tyres. So it's worthwhile taking a look at whether that is in fact correct, but at least there is the attention to that kind of detail. I think it's often assumed that all of the wheels on all Spitfires had a tilted undercarriage wheel like that, and they didn't all have that. That's the rear undercarriage doors being fitted. Aerial wire there. It's off camera. I need to put that on camera. Let's zero out again. There we go. I've not been very good at that today, everybody. Sorry about that. Again, final options here. You've got undercarriage. Excuse me. Canopy open or shut. I'll be Son pilot and canopy open. I'm going to have to modify the port side entry door hatch to be open. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. I can't even see where it's fitted, to be honest with you. I'm just looking through the instructions here. Oh, here we go. It's suggesting it should be shut. I don't think it's giving you an option for open, so that's going to need some modification. Oh yeah, that's not good. Never mind. And then we're through to paint and decals. So we've got 3 options, I think. There's from the Royal Air Force in Malta, 1948. It's a 1949 Royal Auxiliary Air Force, Manchester, City of Manchester Squadron. And then a Mark 24, which was the final Mark of Spitfire ever to be produced. I'm inclined towards that one myself because I want the Mark 24. I'd like to have the Mark 24. And oh yes, that's got stripes in it. That'll interest people, and that will be a challenge for me. I can promise you that. I think I might get a bit of money in the swear box for that one. But yes, I will have a go at this kit. I see there's the sellotape causing all sorts of havoc there. Let's put that away, shall we? But I will have a go at building this at some stage. It's not probably going to be particularly soon because I have other things to do before that. Notably, well, I'll reveal them later. But this is a very old Revell Mark 22 or 24 Spitfire, which I thought you might like to have a little look at. Thanks very much once again for watching. I should say immediately, or should have said at the start, again, I see lots and lots of new subscribers, and thank you very much for doing so. Thank you for coming on board and really subscribing and saying, look here Zimmers, we like what you do. I'll endeavour to make some high quality videos for you, or at least as good a quality as I can. and I will look forward to seeing you on the next one, and the next one is likely to be a further update on the Kotare. To you tankers out there who like to watch tank builds, the Challenger 2, I will come back to it. I've left it on the shelf for a minute. I promise come back to it at some stage in the not too far distant future, because there are lots of little tiny pieces to lose in the carpet and, you know, skitter about the room. So bear with me on that one. I will be back to that one. So look, thank you very much today for your time. Appreciate that enormously. Give me a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have, thanks. And I'll look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care for now. Bye bye.